Technology is no longer the moat, it is no longer the differentiator. The only moat, the only differentiator you have as an enterprise is your data. And unless you treat it with respect, unless you treat it with the utmost importance that it deserves, your AI journey is just going to fail. You should eat your own dog food. So, just like you require good data for good AI, why not infuse AI into getting your data better? Most AI use cases, to my view, are really about reducing something but not increasing your top line. AI first is intelligence first. So, how do you really look at a use case that was already there, that is doing value for you? How can you reimagine that in the AI world?
I spent my first 25 years with Microsoft and I learned so much, which triggered the idea that maybe we should give back. So we're going to have a podcast. My name is Mark Souza. I'm the Chief Technology Officer for Microsoft Asia region. We're going to talk about technology, challenges, and solutions. So please join us. Hello and welcome to the next episode of Let's Talk Tech. Today, I'm pretty excited because I have my friend Samir Dixit, Senior Vice President and Head of Data and AI for our great partner, Persistent. Welcome, Samir.
Thank you for having me on this show.
Well, why don't we just start with a quick introduction of yourself, a little bit about Persistent before we jump in.
Sure. So, I'm Samir Dixit. I lead the data and AI practice at Persistent. I've been in the data space for over 30 years and I've been with Persistent for 20 years. I have seen the journey that we have done as a company and overall the industry also in the data and AI space. So pretty excited to be in this role right now. There's a lot to be done and we are working a lot with our customers to help them on their AI journey. Persistent, as most of you might be knowing, is a leading provider in digital services and we are leaders in the data and AI space. And we are trying to kind of see what we can do with terms of AI and data technologies to help our customers accelerate their transformations. So very glad to be on this show here today. Thank you, Mark.
Excellent. So Persistent, a great Microsoft partner, has been working the last couple of years helping customers implement agentic AI solutions. So with that experience, let's start with maybe you could share a few successful enablers that customers implement in order for them to be successful in this journey.
So we have seen this in the pre-Gen AI days and now in the Gen AI days. So it's not that something new has happened in this Gen AI thing. The technology has changed a lot, but some of the core principles, how you get AI into your enterprise, has not changed a lot. To start with, I think people should not look this like a tool initiative. It has to be more like a strategic initiative. You need a lot of exec buy-in because we see a lot of customers of ours saying that, okay, we don't allow this, we don't allow that. You have to have your guardrails. But unless an executive mandate comes from a top-down perspective that this is what we are going to do, this is how we are going to do it, I think that would be the first and foremost thing. Second thing is about don't try to do this alone. It is too fast, it is too vast. You have to use your partnerships, you have to use your service providers, you have to use your hyperscalers, you have to use your startup ecosystem, you have to use everything that is out there to get you going on this journey. It is not a one-man job. It is not like I'll do this on my own. And there are different areas that people can bring to the fore to help you go on your journey. So don't do this on your own or don't try to do this on your own. And the third thing, I think it is more of a platform play. It's not a tool play. You're not going to get an LLM model or you're not going to get an MCP server or an agent thing. If everybody looks in their enterprise, you will see all these AI initiatives, POCs, whatever different companies call them with. They're mushrooming all across the enterprise. For you to make the most of it, you have to have a platform strategy. You have to be able to reuse what you have done in one group to be able to do in the next group. So your prompt libraries, your DevSecOps pipelines, your LLM guardrails, all that somebody has invested somewhere, and you want to be able to make sure that you leverage all of that to get further. So think platform. And while I'm talking a lot about what you need to do, there are some things that I want to add to this where you should really watch out for. I think the foremost amongst what you should watch out for is change fatigue, and all that is very real. People are really overwhelmed by all of this. So you have to invest a lot in change management. Otherwise, there's like a fire hose. People are getting bombarded by so much of technology and all that. You have to have change management. You have to give people the confidence that, okay, this is not to disrupt or take away your job. This is to do it better. I think people also underestimate the learning curve. Models upgrade faster than humans do. We all know that. So you have to really invest in terms of skills for everybody. There are different levels of people in your organization. You have to identify the right learning path for them. There are technical users, there are non-technical users. There are people who are specific to a set, say QA. How can you use LLMs or AI for doing better QA? If you're a product manager, what is catered to you? Everybody can go through the same training, but then you have to make sure that you get the right training for the right set of people based on the role that they're doing. So I think that's very crucial. So, you have to really watch out for all these things is what I would say. And the last thing, which I think is people think a lot about enablement and technology and all that stuff, but they don't pay enough attention to the guardrails and the legal things that you should get in place before you go to production. So what happens in many scenarios that you have a right use case, you have the right implementation, but you can't get it to production because now you're struggling with all the legalities of what this is. Who is going to vote this decision? How can I audit this? How can I track this and all that stuff? So think platform first, and the three enablers that I mentioned about will help you address the top three pitfalls that I just mentioned. These are the top three things that I can pinpoint to as of now based on what we see.
Great points. Thank you for that. Persistent is very well known for their data and AI expertise. We've said in the past how important data and the right data is to the success of AI implementation. So why don't you talk a little bit more about that?
I don't want to sound like a broken tape because we have heard enough about data being the new oil, data being the new railroad and all that stuff. But in all my journey of looking at AI, technology has become table stakes. And every enterprise or every company will have the technology right now. And if not today, they'll have it tomorrow. Technology is no longer the moat. It is no longer the differentiator. The only moat, the only differentiator you have as an enterprise is your data. And unless you treat it with respect, unless you treat it with the utmost importance that it deserves, your AI journey is just going to fail. Before all of this AI boom came up, in the past also, you needed data to be right, you needed people to make decisions, and you were worried that humans who are looking at these data sets, how are they taking decisions? Here you're talking about agents, autonomous agents who are looking at the data that you have, and they're going to decide on your behalf. You don't even have a human intervention here in most of these cases. So getting your data right has never been more important than it has been right now. What are those things that you need to have in your data to make sure that you have your data AI ready? So there are a lot of things that we are doing around how do you make your data AI ready, and which is quantifiable. You have to quantify it as to what does data AI ready mean. So that's the first thing. The second thing I think is, you should eat your own dog food. So just like you require good data for good AI, why not infuse AI into getting your data better? So what we say is data for AI and AI for data. And what I mean by AI for data is, we've been doing data modernization, data quality, data redundancy, data lineage, data cataloging for a very long time, and that has been very rule-based. If you look at data DQ, for an example, it is very rule-based. You can have some AI aspect to it, but not to the extent that I think we should do right now. So infusing AI into your data lifecycle is going to be super critical. It's like a circle in itself. You get AI to get your data better, and then you get that data to get your AI better. And the third most important thing is focus on your data DevSecOps operationalization, because the change is so fast, not only on the technology of the AI side, but also on the data side. So unless you're able to get new things and validate new hypotheses into production very fast in an automated way, you are going to be a laggard. So you will get AI, you'll get Gen AI, but you'll not get at the pace that you want it to be to transform your business. So automation in the data pipelines, to revise it, automation in the data pipelines and DevSecOps thing, then getting AI into your data aspects, and then quantifying what does data ready for AI mean. There are 7 to 8 different things, and every enterprise can have different values for different things. But at a major level, if you look at these things, this is what is going to help you differentiate from your competition. People focus a lot on technology, LLMs, how many parameters and all that. I think that is good. You should really worry about it, but focus on the data first.
This is a good point you're driving home. The management of data, the security of data, those are equally or even more important.
Correct. And there's one more thing. So we've been building connectors for a very long time. Right? Now think of every connector that you have built in an enterprise like an MCP server. Think of every API. If you pair it with an LLM, it's like an agent. So you have to draw some of these parallels in your own world. Connectors equal to MCP servers or tools, because for any AI or autonomously to work, you have to be able to query all the data sets that are out there. And it has been a very long time that this whole enterprise data landscape has been very siloed. You have got these SaaS companies, your CRM data is somewhere, your ticketing data is somewhere, your ERP data is somewhere, and that is how it has been. For you to be able to make the most of it, for your agents to kind of work in an autonomous way, you have to be able to get all of these together and be able to correlate in a very meaningful fashion. Joining data for the sake of it is not going to cut it. So that's what I think you should really focus. And that's why data is very paramount.
Spot on. Matter of fact, you said this quote one time, and I'll never forget it. And I'd like you to elaborate on it. You said, business value is delivered at scale, not in silos. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
You have to have a quantifiable ROI in place. How are you going to measure the impact that you have? And there are 3 things, tangible and intangible. If you look at the tangible aspects, one is you get productivity improvement, wherein, all your coding assistants and those kind of things, will help you get better, which is the most common and the most obvious use case. There's no 2 doubts about it. The second is you get more productive by reducing cost and by automating certain things, reduce your bottom line. And third is, not many people are focusing on, is how do you increase your top line? How do you increase your revenue? Most AI use cases, to my view, are really about reducing something, but not increasing your top line. In my view, if you look at the top line And that's where you have to have a unified approach and not a siloed approach. Because how can you do better GTM? How can you approach better markets? What are the new things that you should be doing in your production, in the features for you to increase your top line? Those are the ones which get the most buy-in from an exec top-down manner. So this is what I think we should be really doing. Another thing that I think is, don't be very fancy in terms of your use cases. Don't try to reinvent the wheel and make something very fancy. Reimagining existing use cases has worked the best. So if you're talking about claim management and claim adjustment and claim approvals, that's a very solid use case. Now you have to think about, what does AI first mean in this use case? Right? Just like when mobiles came, you thought mobile first. And what that means is, how do you get location? How do you get other aspects into a use case? AI first is intelligence first. So how do you really look at a use case that was already there, that is doing value for you? How can you reimagine that in the AI world? How can you get intelligence first? And how can you make it better? And to make that happen, you cannot have a siloed approach. You have to have an enterprise-wide approach. One thing which I've seen about AI, being able to gather insights from seemingly unrelated processes has added a lot of value. And for that to happen, you have to have an enterprise-wide approach for getting AI in. So that's what I think. Reimagine existing use cases. Think about top lines. Don't always be on this whole tech summarization and all these cost saving and how do I reduce my back office thing and all that stuff. That's good. You need to do that. But think beyond that also. Quantify the ROI before you start on something. And there is always an ROI, and it has to be mathematical. It cannot be adjectives.
It does make a lot of sense. The number one question we get today is not the value, it's the return on investment. So that's a great point. The default thinking is return on investment means cutting costs. Sometimes it's increasing revenue, increasing sales, increasing customer satisfaction, and that's the real benefit as well. So I love you pointing out that as well. And lastly, you mentioned about the use cases. Don't worry about the perfect use case. I find, I love your thoughts, that agentic AI always, you're never done. It's always evaluation, observability, and getting better. So I love your note about, don't worry about the perfect use case because you'll improve it over time.
I think the key is, those people who want to get into AI have to have a mandate to get into it. Don't worry a lot about technology and is this going to change tomorrow or another. You have to get on the journey. And once you're on the journey, enhancing something is easier than starting on something new. And so my advice to most people is, get started somewhere. Get something into production. Get a platform play. Get a ecosystem play. Get your engine going. Right? Once you have an engine going, then improvising and innovating on top of it is much easier than building something from scratch. So let it fail. It's okay. And failure is not like 0 and 1. Failure is readjustment. It's not snakes and ladders, right? You fail and you come down. It's not like that. It's like, it's like the small snake. You come down a little bit, but then you go up again. So I think it is continuous. And those people who get onto this journey will absolutely succeed. I think those are on the rings, watching around and seeing, what is happening, and let me wait for some time. This new model is coming, that new technology is coming. That's not going to help, because that will keep happening, and so will your business keep changing. So take the jump now, have those mandates, put your councils, put your COEs, put your platform play, put your partnership play, and get going. Now that's the key.
Any parting thoughts you want to summarize with?
I think most people are worried about, will AI disrupt their business? I think they should not be worried about AI disrupting the business. I think it should be about, if you don't adopt AI, it is going to disrupt your business for sure. Right? It's what happened with chess. Right? People thought that if AI comes into chess is going to just become a computer game and all that stuff. It didn't happen. Chess became, in fact, more popular since AI came, because, all these people started getting trained on AI, and they started, the game level increased a lot, and so did the audience interest in that, right? So the same is the case here. You have to be AI enabled. It's not the best models. Don't worry about the best models and the best technologies. Worry about the boldest steps. Worry about what is it that you want to achieve with AI. I think those people who have taken those bold decisions, okay, this is going to be my AI roadmap, this is going to be my AI use case, those are the ones who will succeed. It's not about getting worried about AI. I personally think that AI has got a lot more to offer. We are just scratching the surface. There are jobs, there are certain things which will have to change, but there are many things where you have not even scratched the surface. So there's plenty of room for more people to do more with AI and do better.
Well, great learnings today. This technology continues to changing. The environment's changing. Our customers are changing, and the way they're using is changing. So if you don't mind, I'd love to have you back in about 6 months. We'll talk about everything else we learned in that period of time.
Absolutely. More than happy to be there. And thank you for this whole insightful discussion today, Mark.
Well, thank you, Samir, and thank you, Persistent, for being a great partner indeed. And thank you to the audience today for listening in. And remember, feel free to add comments, because we are listening and we are reading them, and tell us what you want to hear about in the future. I'll see you next episode.